I understand the next call is a split call. Sue Williams, CO.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy to take a short call as I'm no longer on that select committee. When the government began, Speaker, when the government began beating the drums on their welfare reform legislation, Radio Samoa in Auckland picked up the issue and started discussing this on their talkback shows. The Samoan community, like all the Pacific communities, are people that are proud about their family and have a strong work ethic. Thousands of callers over a week called in and hammered consistently, following the views by the government, the need for greater personal responsibility. There was a unanimous voice from callers on that program that any Samoan on the benefit ought to get off the benefit immediately. And there was a strong sense of almost shame that if any of our people on the benefit, that was wrong, they need to get off it. And that was how it was, based on what I would say the dog whistle politics that was used as part of this welfare reform. And so instead of supporting those in need, we turned on them, those in need, and started attacking them. And I suspect, Mr. Speaker, that was same for New Zealand throughout. Now, as the dutiful MP for Māngere, I felt it was my duty to talk to the community through the radio waves and through committee meetings about what this was all about. And I reminded the community that this government is now experiencing the worst economic record in 51 years. It has the highest unemployment in 13 years, 6.9 as of the end of this year, 175 people. That the Pacific and Māori unemployment numbers were now at double digits. After, under Labour government, it was single digit. That this government, despite its many promises, has failed to rebalance our economy, and now we have a current account deficit that has risen to 5% of GDP, and our exports fell last year to 1.3 billion, and international liabilities has now worsened, now at 150 billion of 72% of GDP. And I think, sir, that when you explain the thrust of what this government is doing, people then decide to gradually begin to understand. See, they were suckered in when the mantra that this government used in introducing its welfare reform was they would have an unrelenting focus on work. The unrelenting focus on work. And despite the smarty one-liners and short-term headlines, we know, and the community out in New Zealand know, that this government have no long-term solution to fix New Zealand's economic woes, and they continue to mismanage New Zealand's economy with these short-term, short-sighted gimmicks. And time again, in that first reading leading up to the second reading, they said this bill was about their unrelenting focus on work. Yet nothing in this bill addresses the three main barriers to work. How many jobs does this bill create? None, I say. What support is given to parents for childcare costs? None, I say. Without training, what training support is given to match those without skills to jobs that require high-level skills? None, I say. We heard from the submitters that this was more about an unrelenting focus on attacking children, an unrelenting focus on attacking children, attacking motherhood, attacking single women with mothers. I tell you, sir, one of the submitters that stand out in my mind was Charlotte Murray, a single mother with 2 children, said her main job is raising her 2- and 5-year-old children. She said forcing her into work is not good for her children. Forcing a mother into work when a child reaches 3 years or 5 or 6 years will cause stress and harm her children. And the Children's Commissioner, sir, backs that up. In their submission, they said where sanctions are imposed on beneficiaries of children, who suffers? It's the children. So we should not be believing their one-liners that this is an unrelenting focus on work. This is an unrelenting attack on children and motherhood, sir. And the Salvation Army report of earlier this year, of the Nation's report, she'll be right, reaffirms that under this government, child poverty has
Right,
worsened.
interrupt the honourable member. I call Mojo Mathis.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Green Party